There we go. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. We were having a little bit of an issue with starting the live stream there, but it looks like it worked itself out. Really happy to get started here and to join everybody. Let me just get everything set up there. Okay, welcome. So this is for Scorpio. It's for May 2020. And I was up really early this morning receiving all kinds of energy and information for your sign. So I have a feeling like this is going to be a really, I would say, effective and even releasing sort of energy today that's going to help you move through and open up some new portals, some new opportunities. So let's get started, okay? If you're brand new, I'd like to begin by introducing who I am. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Every month, I like to show up, and what I'm here to do is really give you a roadmap of opportunities. I'm a big believer in free will. So I will show you what's possible, where there may be some sort of friction or roadblocks, and then give you some ways that you could possibly look at them from a different angle. I think a lot of what's going on in the world right now is a challenge to perceive things from a different point of view. So we'll be looking at that silver lining or a different perspective as we do the latter portion. But before I jump ahead of myself, let me tell you a little bit about how this is organized. Every month you can use this for your sun, your rising, and for your moon sign. And the way that this works is also if you want to look on behalf of someone else in your life, you can do that as well. If you just know your birth sign, that's going to be more than enough, so you can watch that video. The other thing is the beginning and end of each session contains information that I think is really pertinent and useful for everybody. And if you have extra time, or if you're feeling uncertain or a little bit emotionally open and sensitive during this period, please join in. You're welcome. It doesn't matter what sign you are. There's always some good information here for you. After we get through the channeled information, which is the first part, I'm going to look at a Celtic cross, which will give you that roadmap. Then we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And at the latter portion, we'll be doing some soul work, which helps open up opportunities for the whole year, like I said. I'd like to thank both Ryan and Maria for helping me moderate. If you have questions, they can help with those. I'm going to pull a piece of paper here in a second that will show you how you can say thanks or hello if you'd like to. There's a super chat icon. And what I encourage you to do is if you like what you see, you can send me a sticker and say thanks. I don't do Q&A or pick a card readings like a lot of intuitives. I have a lot that's coming through, and I find that too disruptive. So I really just want to share with you what I'm seeing and feeling. So this will be general for the whole sign. But if you want to show support, that's a great way to do it. There's a lot of other ways, including Patreon and even clicking the join button here. So for anyone who's done any of those, I just want to say thanks in advance. I'll call out a little special thank you once this video is posted on replay for anybody that does do a super chat. So just know that I do appreciate it, and I'm acknowledging you now, and I'll acknowledge you later. If you'd like to book an appointment, follow me on social media, etc. I'll put more of that information at the end of the video. I want to talk about all of the dreams and information that I was receiving early this morning. So let's get to that. So sometimes my guides actually will show me cards in my dreams because I'm so sort of entrenched in the symbology of it. It makes a lot of sense for me. So what I was looking at was a deck that was kind of like what you would call a stacked deck. It wasn't exactly balanced. There were cards that were missing. So I went through the deck and I noticed two cards were missing. They were the Four of Wands and the Ace of Wands. And those are really good cards, actually. There's nothing negative about them. So for some of you, I can get a sense that there's longing for the Four of Wands and the Ace of Wands. The Four of Wands being around friends, that camaraderie, the community. It could also indicate that that's coming into your life, but it's being withheld for a while, for a little bit. And it is about the sort of purposeful distancing that we're all doing. But it shows me it's there. It's just sort of off in the distance. And the Ace of Wands too was there. And I was able to eventually find the cards, and I put them back in the deck. So this is showing me things are not lost. They're just being temporarily withheld, or we have to find a different way to it. The other thing, when I was holding onto the Four of Wands card, I got the word revelation in my head, which meant that for some of you, one of those key partnerships in your life, you may actually see the true colors of someone that you thought was a friend, and then someone else may come through, then ends up being that true friend that you thought you had with the other person. So I wrote down revelation, one path closes, another opens. You could also say like one friendship ends, another one begins. So in this space where something falls out, it's kind of like you are opening up an opportunity, and someone or something will rise to that occasion and fill the space. So try not to focus so much on, for those of you that discover something that you thought was more than it was, it's a blessing to realize the true worth of the true situation in front of you, because this is going to help you move along. And sometimes we need kind of like some sort of a catalyst or permission to allow us to do something we need to do. So as we're looking at May, there's something that will come through that's going to change your mind, change your perspective. And that was the next piece here, was I kind of put a slash between the words because I like us to sometimes look at the different aspects of it, but to shapeshift. And I have a character in my book, actually the one that symbolizes death, and it's a shapeshifter, because I think that opportunities, change, transformation, it's all about changing view, changing perspective. Something that you think is dead may actually just need to be reinvented. And so when it comes to aspects of your life, we're not talking about actual people here. We're talking about opportunities, ways of thinking. This is a time to be shape-shifting, to be moving around a little bit. And I've been talking in each sign about a different symbol. It was a snake in yesterday's reading. Today, it's about being able to literally sort of change according to what's going on. Think of, sort of like a gecko, or there's another kind of animal that does that, but there are certain camouflage is what I'm trying to talk about, the ability to kind of shift. So one thing that you're being challenged to do right now is not to always use the same sort of communication or creativity or approach that you did before. You're going to be sort of like a chameleon. That's what I was trying to think of, and change a little bit. So if you can do that, then really what we see in the month ahead is innovation. So that can be very exciting. And for your sign, as I was brushing my teeth and getting ready this morning, I kind of flashed back to, this would be 80s, yeah. There was a great band then, Tears for Fears. I was like a little kid when this was a popular band, but the song that I remembered and then I had my smart speaker play for me was Seeds of Love. It was like one of the last ones that they did as a band, and then they kind of broke off and did their separate things. The song is really kind of like appropriate for right here and right now, because the lead singer that wrote a lot of the lyrics for this was kind of talking about, politicians disagreeing and all the kind of crazy stuff going on in the world. And the big purpose on it is like, why don't we just sow the seeds of love? And so in my head, I was thinking about what many of us are holding space right now. It's kind of like this open field, right? Waiting to see what happens. And we are already seeing different parts of the world returning to work. Other parts, again, are closing down. So this is an interesting time where when I'm reading, these readings are going a little over because I have to look at it from like three perspectives. Wherever you're at, if you're overemployed, underemployed, or waiting to find employment, there's all sorts of ways to be right now. Just hold this space and try to nurture yourself and realize that things like this is a very interesting time. We're living through history. The exciting part is we're actually in a history book right now, figuring out how the story is going to end. There's great power in that because history hasn't happened. We're writing it, we're creating it. So if we plant those seeds of hope and possibility and take advantage of what's gone, what's happening, and what we might want to create, we are the drivers, we are the writers, we are the producers, we're the ones that's making all of the pages in the book right now. So make them good pages, and make this something that counts. It doesn't have to be a tragedy. It doesn't have to be a telenovela. It could be something really beautiful where we figure something out, we change the world for the better. So I like to err on the side of possibilities. And that's really, I think, the key phrase or the hashtag, if you will, for May 2020 for you is what are the possibilities in front of you? So we'll review all of these big ideas as we go through the Celtic cross here. I'll periodically go back to that. But I did like that my guides were showing me two positive, auspicious cards. I love the Four of Wands. I love the Ace of Wands. Friendship, love, camaraderie, and innovation, ideation, passion. There's definitely passion with the Ace of Wands as well. And coming together, that's ultimately what those two cards indicate. So there can be a new sort of, a new order and a new organization and a new way to come back. And that's what we have to look at. And one last thing that I've been talking about in every sign is just, different doesn't have to be bad. Different is just different. So let's try to get back to some sort of a new norm that we create And I'm excited to see what that is. And I'm excited to see what the cards show. So I'm going to turn the camera down now. We're going to take a look at the highs, the lows, and the opportunities for the month ahead. And I'll try to look at it those different lenses of, like I said, for those of you that are working, for those of you that are furloughed, for those that are waiting to come back to work. So it'll be a few different viewpoints. So just bear with me. For those of you, by the way, that are joining for the first time live, welcome. That's one of the nice effects of what's going on. I get a chance to see a lot of you that I normally wouldn't. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being patient. Welcome back here. So the first card that I like to pull is something that I call a catalyst. And the catalyst is a way to draw connections between everything in front of me. It also can kind of keep you in that high energy, and it can start things. That's kind of like what the word means here. So the card was reversed. We have a knight in reverse, and it says, be brave, be honest. And if we just go to like the essential pieces of what any knight in tarot would be, this is an oracle deck, but it's still very similar. It's about taking action. So when I see a knight in reverse, there is a general sort of caution to just be patient, to allow timing to unfold, to know that certain things can't be forced, and that sometimes we have to wait for that revelation to happen here. And there's a rose here in the background. Sorry, I was tossing the card there. So with the rose, one thing that I'm always reminded of is, wherever you see a rose, there's also thorns. So there's pieces that we have to work through that feel kind of like jagged and unfinished and uncertain and sometimes painful, but there's also something beautiful. So if we can work through our current situation and think about, all right, I don't like where I'm at. This is like the thorn piece, but look at the bud growing. If I keep pruning certain things here, you can create growth in roses. When I was a kid, my mom used to grow them outside, and I remember watching her prune them. You have to take back the old growth. And sometimes if it would get too long, sometimes if you're spending too long on a certain path in life too, it's time to shift. And roses grow better when they are sort of cut back, and it creates new kind of offshoots. And I think that's a great metaphor for where many of us are in our life right now, which is looking at, all right, maybe I spent 5 years, 10 years, or half of my life on this one path. If I cut it off, it doesn't mean I die. It means I'm gonna mourn the loss. I have to kind of like heal here, but after a while I can shoot out and go in different directions and try new things. It forces growth. So if you could look at April and May, we're looking at May, but many of you are joining me right now at the latter portion here of April. So wherever you're at, whenever you're watching, you're going to be somewhere in that journey. You've either just cut back or you've made the pruning and now you're looking forward to the growth. What appears to be dead is simply dormant. There's always a chance to grow. So back to what I was saying, sowing the seeds of opportunity, of love, of hope. Put something into this time. Plant it with something good. You get what you give. So put that in there, and I think it's going to be okay. Be patient and know that there will be a time to sort of wake up, take action, move forward. So whether this is the Knight of Swords, of Pentacles, of Cups, etc., you're going to have your moment. So be patient, be persistent, and hold that vision of what you're going to try to grow in your life. And that's the message. There's a really beautiful card, actually. So let's go to the center here. Interestingly enough, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the previous reading, but judgment has been showing up a lot. Doesn't surprise me. It's a card of death, rebirth, also having to deal with things that are kind of handed to us. It's been showing up a lot in all these spreads, oftentimes around the center here. So with this, you notice that I actually like this particular illustration. You can see people already at that point of rising up. This is what I was talking about. After something has been taken away, is finished, or is delivered to us, Gabriel is the messenger, and that's what we're seeing here, we have to decide what to do with it. So many of us have been in that moment of judgment. All right, I didn't want to do this, but it's happening, so now what? And I think focusing on the now what rather than the why did that happen, or I'm angry that it happened, is so much more effective. And also, many of you might be at a point where you're trying to change people's perspective. So maybe people around you can't see things from your point of view. For those of you that are working in, like I say, in the trenches day to day, you're trying to show the other side of the story because not everyone's seeing that. We have differing points of view, and with judgment, you can also have people kind of, basically bashing head to head because of opinions or strong beliefs. I think we need to stay open-hearted, and that's why we have the Page of Cups tempering this a little bit. If each of our messages could be sprinkled with a little bit of compassion, a little bit of understanding, a little bit of empathy, and love, basically, I think we'd be in a lot better place. This isn't the time for anger, for sarcasm, for raising your voice. Everybody's going through something. Everybody has a unique story. We don't always know that because some people are better than others at keeping it in. So just because someone's smiling and looking really strong, or doesn't say anything and is just working, it doesn't mean that they're not in pain. So I've been talking about my own life because I think it helps, and so I'm going to share this little aside. There was a point where I lost someone in my life, and I was working a day job, and I had a coworker yell at me 1 week after somebody died in my life, and I went back to work way too soon. That was my sort of mistake, but I just looked at them and I said, we can't work together anymore. There was a moment where I just thought, I don't need to be abused anymore. I don't need this sort of energy being pushed at me. It was an awakening. That was a kind of revelation. And this person actually accused me of being lazy. And what was going on in my life is I was sad. So I didn't have the same energy to do things. And I was really working hard. And later I was grateful because it was that moment in time. I can trace it back. That was when I decided to leave and do what I'm doing now. So to that person, I'm grateful. But in that moment, I thought, wow, you don't have any idea what I'm going through, do you? And I'm really good at not dumping my energy on other people. But just because you're strong, it doesn't mean that something isn't going on. So if you're in that moment, don't be afraid to do what I do and just step up and say, I'm sensitive right now. I just lost someone in my life. I've just been going through all of this. Please give me a timeout right now. I need some space. And this isn't appropriate, by the way. So I found my voice, I spoke up, and I decided to make a change in my life. If you're about to yell at somebody or assume something, take a step back and ask a question. It's so much more powerful to go into any sort of conflict negotiation or critical moment by simply stepping in and saying, hey, we talked about doing this. It's not unlike you. This isn't like you to not kind of follow through. What's going on? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? It's actually a great way. We're talking about taking temperature checks, right? You don't have to always do a physical check to see if someone is well or sick. You can also just start a conversation with truly, and I mean truly checking in, not sort of like the, hey, what's up? Okay, cool. Can you do this? Really sit there for a second and say, oh, I know this is going on. How did that work out? Like, get to know some people in your life. And as you establish a true friendship and a true relationship, the communication improves and you won't have those moments of misjudging. So empathy can help you see through and judge things much more effectively. So yeah, take some time and really just kind of slow down a little bit. That's what this is about. We don't have to rush back to anything. We don't have to assume that people are trying to do something because they're whatever's going on. Just release assumptions, check in with yourself. Also, don't be afraid to just ask for the help that you need. I think that'll be really key. Thank you so much to my moderators that are keeping everything clean right now. I appreciate that. All right, what we're also seeing here in the deep past is the Four of Cups in reverse. So with the Four of Cups in reverse, there is also kind of an opportunity to either focus on what you can see or maybe what you can feel or hope or aspire to be. A lot of times this is a missed opportunity. That's why you actually see the universe kind of handing out or offering something here. And if you're too stuck in a particular way of being, thinking, or even perceiving, you miss out on that. So the big opportunity right now is to kind of open up and see maybe what if I try this? What about that? It's exploration. Kind of think of yourself as going into space for the first time and not necessarily trying to put your experience of your earthbound life on space. So if you were on Mars or on one of the moons of Jupiter or Saturn, you would kind of open up your mind and think, this isn't going to be like my experience on Earth. So as we go through new opportunities in our life, if we could just take a deep breath and peel back the blinders and the preconceived sort of goggles that we wear, we might be able to use our third eye and see something different, see something new, see it from a new perspective. So close your physical eyes, meditate, open up your third eye, try to look at a situation again through another angle, and you may be surprised at what it reveals. I think all of us are feeling like, how do I get control? How do I sort of like get a handle on what's going on? Control issues are, I think, in every sign. You're the first one maybe that has come through with the Chariot in reverse. But for me, that is about sometimes surrendering to what is out of your hands and what is within your hands. If we were to imagine, there are two horses here, but you only need one to pull the carriage, really. And they need to be going in the same direction. So some of you may feel like one of those horses has gone wild. Some of you may feel like they're going in two different directions, and some are just sitting still. I think this is a time where you have to try to get organized in what it is you're trying to do, and realize also there are some things that just you can't control right now. Look at what you can. Going back to the Four of Cups, is there something that you've forgotten about? Is there something that you wish you could do? Is there something else that you have an idea that you want to explore? Better to go on these things that you can control. Your reaction to, the attention to how much energy you're putting into that. All of this stuff is within your control. Stop focusing so much on the external stuff that then can create fear, uncertainty, anger, frustration, the Knight in reverse, which is basically, when am I going to be able to get moving again? So try to use this period right now to, as we looked at these earlier cards, what is the universe trying to reveal to you? What can you do to change like a chameleon during this period? What can you sow during this period and create so that when you return to some sort of new normal, you're going to have something to show for it? We have the Six of Swords in reverse in the crowning position. So, with Judgment in the center and the Six of Swords here, for many of you, this is mourning any way you want to look at it. So it could be mourning a job, that relationship that might have fallen apart. There could be someone that you've lost in your life because of COVID-19 or something else. Whatever's going on right now, it's a little difficult. There's heightened emotions. That's why I talked about my experience with loss. And the one thing that I realized that I'd like to kind of share with you, and I'm sure many of you who have lost, a brother, a sister, a mother, father, lover, someone really close to you, you underestimate how grief works, right? You think, I've got this. If I just get back to work, I'll be okay. If I just focus on this, I'll be okay. Give yourself time and understand that sometimes in the quiet moments, grief comes in, or, sort of that mourning comes in, and you could be watching a dog commercial on TV and cry. You could be listening to a song on the radio and be triggered by a memory. You could just be sitting at bed at night and all of a sudden a thought comes to you. So if that happens, go through the emotions and use this space to sort of get yourself back to where you need to be. With the distancing card at the top, the fact that I saw Four of Wands when I was meditating for your sign is telling me that you need to reach out, many of you, and get some help and talk to people, whether it's virtually or on the phone, or if you are living with people and you can talk to them about what's going on in your mind and your heart, do it. Because what do we see right next to that? We have the Two of Cups in reverse. That means that you've been really good at being there for others in your life, this is your time to reach out and say, I need some love, I need some support as well. Now, if there's anyone in your life that is taking too much, I was talking about that revelation moment where, maybe there's somebody who hasn't been showing their true colors. This is a chance to balance out the scales. This is a chance to sort of like hold them to accountability, right? And say, this doesn't work for me anymore. Also, look at kind of what's going on with them. What was the trigger for them, or why have they been doing that? I think it's always good to ask a question, the same thing that I was talking about before we jump to any conclusions. Asking questions this month is going to be a really effective way for you to kind of be the investigator, go beneath the surface, and start to understand things from another angle. I think many of you are just missing the contact here. And so that's why I was seeing Four of Wands and Ace of Wands, which are, again, friendship, passion, and then we have the Six of Swords and the Two of Cups here. So just take care of yourself, be safe, be smart, find other ways to reach out and connect. There are a lot of ways, of course, through video conferencing, but also, if you're truly connected with people, you can send love to them telepathically, emotionally. You can really feel their energy, and this is a great time for intuitive development to take place. So when you're talking on the phone, really imagine that you're next to that person and send them love and light. All right, so as we look at the ego this month, I actually love the Hermit. It's an often misunderstood card. If we look closely here, we see that beautiful star that he's holding in the lantern. The conduit, or the method to getting to the star, is the Hermit. Basically, you have to go inward and find your inner light, your purpose, your passion, your soul. And then once you found that, you shed what we see here, the sort of garb that he's wearing, and you just become the star. So we're in that moment of inner sort of discovery. And that revelation that I was talking about is, for some of you, maybe you were looking for light, for inspiration in others. And in the space, in the distance, even for those of you that are overemployed and working too much, in all the noise right now, you might be the one that's rising to the occasion and finding energy and hope and sort of things in your toolkit that you never thought that you had. You're basically shedding the sort of garb of the Hermit card and going into the star. So keep that light shining in the dark. That's all you need, is that little lantern to lead the way. Be the lantern, be the light, find your light, and shine brightly. And if you've lost someone in your life, you still have that energy with you, and it's your turn now to shine. And that's what this card is kind of showing. There's actually an opportunity for many of you this month. We have the Page of Pentacles, which is auspiciously located in the environment. Give me a second to drink here. So with the Page of Pentacles, for some of you, you may hear about an opportunity that is right for you. Maybe you know someone in your life that's lost a job, you're employed, and you can think of a way to bring them in. I actually see some resources coming in. You're one of the signs that's showing a money card or resource card. It's upright, it's in the environment. So know this: if you're going through a difficult time, the connection with people, so networking, is probably how you're going to find the next job. Since I saw Four of Wands in meditation, and we see a Two of Cups here, and it's right next to the this Page of Pentacles card, this is showing me that just like one or two connections away is an opportunity or a helping hand or someone that can give you some support. Remembering that pentacles are not always money. It can be literally like food. It could be a space to sleep. It could be a shoulder to metaphorically lean on right now, since we're practicing social distancing. It could just be, like I said, time and energy. So you have a resource that you can tap into that can help you navigate through these challenging times. You could also be that resource. You could be the light in the dark. So I see a lot of great energy. Your sign is naturally emotional and empathic. And so many of you may be driven right now to try to help, to make a difference, to do some outreach. And there's a lot of great ways to do that. So if that's something that you're hoping to do, go for it. And if you're feeling like you need help, ask for it, because I see a lot of assistance, a lot of love, a lot of helping hands just there around the corner for you. So as we look here at the hope spheres and possibilities here, we have the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups was reversed. So I think many of you are longing for the family, for the connection to the family. This is also a blessing in disguise. I'd like to say that. So what what we're actually having a chance to do is to not define ourselves by our job, our community, our family. This is a chance right now to, again, go within and remind yourself, what is it that I need? And for some of you, you might have been tapped out by all of those social or familial or societal pressures on yourself. So in addition to the planet getting a chance to recover, many of you are getting a chance to just take a deep breath and get out of everyone's energy. I've offered a lot of different meditations last month. I may do a revisitation of one that I think I recorded about 4 years ago that was on cord cutting. And what you could do in this period right now is to imagine that you're going to clear that energy. I'm going to write it down right now because I think I could do a modified version during our meditation today. And we'll focus on clearing out each of those sort of connections. You don't have to literally cut the cords. You can also push light through them and imagine it's kind of like a plumber going into pipes in a house that have been sort of plugged up, and you're just going to get the blockages cleared. So I'm going to do that piece for you today, which is clear. And if you desire, sort of cut unnecessary cords. And I think that'll be really effective. So during some of this time where you are separated, your energy grows stronger. You become more aware of who is sort of tapping into your energy, and you can start to decide where to kind of prune, just like the rose bush that I was talking about earlier. There was a thought on that I wanted to explore. It'll come to me in a second. So the other thing is, even in this strange time, your sign has a lot of cards around love. I'm going to turn the camera down just for a second so you can see them. We have 2 of Cups, we have the 10 of Cups, and we have the 6 of Cups. So this can be friends and lovers. This can be family. This can be brothers, sisters, and again, best friends, or even people from the past. It feels like relationships are factoring in a really large way with you this month. So whether it's Zooming with them, talking to them on the phone, or being present with them, because this can be the people that you're living with, you have a really great opportunity to enhance, repair, and learn more about these key relationships. So the patience piece of this is to really kind of take in and kind of figure out how is this working for me? Do I still feel like we're seeing eye to eye, or was I working so much that I lost connection maybe with my child, with my partner, with my pet, whoever it is in your life? Now you have a chance to be with them in a different way. And it could be easy for some of you, could be a burden for some of you, but no matter what it is, it's a blessing because you're going to get a chance to understand that and kind of heal some of the karma between you and these people that you love. All of your ladder cards, really, when we look at near future opportunities, they're all about love, relationships, and they're great auspicious cards too. 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups, 6 of Cups, love, family, friends. So find the connections with those people this month and really spend the energy. This could be the investment. Forget about Wall Street or whatever exchange you follow. This is a time to put the investment into love. So I think that's what I was seeing for some of you, as a chance to balance those out a little bit. And you don't have to be next to them to do that. They don't even have to be alive. Yes, in my dreams and my visions and my meditations, I can connect with those who have passed. But the interesting thing is that we all can, even if we don't hear what they say, they hear what we say. And we feel the healing that happens. So if you had a brother, sister, father, friend, whomever in your life you might have some regrets with, some sort of energy that didn't work out in the past, if they have passed, if they've transitioned to spirit, this is a great time for you to light a candle, say a prayer, and ask for what you couldn't in life. Say, I always needed you to be there for me. I hope that now you can see why that was important, but I also understand our relationship better. So I'm not angry anymore. I'm lighting this candle to help pray for you so that you can go into the light. You can do something like that. It's so powerful for that person on the other side. That's what this is. You're going to help them through a dark period. So if you know someone in your life, and I've known people in my family who struggled with, various forms of addiction or sadness or depression. And so when I'm inspired to do that, I will light a candle or I'll say a prayer, and I try to push out some light into that area, wherever they're at in their sort of cosmic journey. And that's a big blessing that some of you could do. And if you just want to help the planet, do the same thing. I did a meditation for the departed, and there's a prayer in Kundalini Yoga where you just say a single word, a call, and you repeat it 3 or 4 times. And there's some great musical renditions on iTunes and Spotify of that as well. You can say a prayer for the departed. It's a really powerful thing. One day you'll hope that people will do that for you as well. Let's look at the lens now of everything here through health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with health, which is going to be mind, body, and spirit. We have Diana here, and the message is about focused intention. It says, think about what you desire, set your sights high, expect the best possible outcome. And she's reminding me a lot of a high priestess in this particular illustration. And so remember, you have that power to, through kind of, and she's an archer. We saw an archer yesterday with an 8 of Wands card, if I remember. So if you can focus on one thing that you want to control, to change, to mold, imagine yourself sort of like a sculptor or working with clay, if you like kind of like throwing pottery or something like that. But imagine that there's one thing in your life that you can shift, you can shape, you can mold. I want you to put your energy into that. 1, it's going to be productive. 2, it's going to be a great emotional, energetic, and psychic sort of way to channel and download your energy. So with all of these cups cards, many of you may be artists here. And it doesn't have to be like, this could be like musical, acting. It could also be writing. It could just be a decision to want to do something that was a passion in your life that you never had a chance to. So take the passion, put it into some sort of an action plan, and work on it this month. It's going to be a great sort of expression of your higher self. It's going to help you find that star energy within. It can also help you find something that in the long run might end up being your future plan B or C, so that if something falls apart with your job or you just get tired of something, you have something else to go to. I think it's always a smart thing to do stuff in your life just because you want to do it, but you never know where that could lead you. You never know what passage or pathways it might open up. So this is a chance to sort of just do it because it's fun, because you love it. And then something beautiful in the long run might actually come through as well. We have a lot of cups cards in reverse. So emotional state of, I would say emotional stability and how you're feeling is going to be really, really important. But it's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to be however you are. We all react to stress differently. And I think that's one of the things that we can try to do better when we're looking at people in our lives, is realize just because I cry for, a month doesn't mean someone else needs that type of grief, or I laugh at a funeral doesn't mean I'm bad. Whatever you're doing, it's probably just your reaction to stress. So give yourself a chance to do it and know that this outlet is actually going to stabilize you. Do whatever you can this month to not feel alone or separated. With the Hermit and the 6 of Swords, reconnecting with people is important. Don't be afraid to be the one that reaches out as well. I think that's really, really important. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's move along to, actually, let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, with Judgment card. I think some of you know what you need to do to change for the better in your life. This could be a decision to like stop drinking, smoking, to eat better. Again, to make some sort of a change for the better. Judgment is kind of, it's an interesting card because it has contradictory energy kind of wrapped into it. Justice is sometimes easier because you get to think through things. You kind of weigh the options. Sometimes you even know immediately or outright, because if the card's reversed, I'm not going to do that. With this card, sometimes it's tough to deal with something, even if you have to do it. So Judgment requires a sort of germination period where you're sitting, you're allowing it to kind of integrate with you. So I think for many of you, give it time. That's the message that I see. And then once you're ready, take action and it will be okay. All right, let's look now at your wealth card. And this makes sense. We have home, it's reversed. For many of you, there is this new sort of transference of energy between work and home. Your work-life balance is off. So just a tip from someone who works from home. I have separate, I have a very small apartment, by the way, but my other room, it's only a 1-bedroom, but it's really just 2 rooms and a bathroom here. So in my other room where I sleep, I also have a place where I can write and do my creative work. So I've kind of sacrificed my living room and I make this sort of an office and meeting space for all of us, virtual and real. And having that separation between this is the room that I do work in, and that's the room that I create in or I sleep in is very effective. If I had more space in my house, I would separate the sleeping area from the sort of like creation area as well. So if you have space, create the space and kind of separate it. If you're a mother or a father, or even just a roommate, and you need your space, work out your kind of new office hours with your children, with your friends, with your roommates, so that they know that in certain times or certain spaces, you're not to be bothered. And then show up. I mean, like today, I take a shower, I get dressed, I show up. It's because the lights and the camera and the action is happening, but you don't need that to be accountable. I think it's really important to keep a schedule as well. So with home now being work, for many of you, you're going to have to create boundaries, schedules, and routines. Also set new rules of engagement to be effective. That means going to sleep and waking up at certain times and just having, again, a normal workday. When I'm done with this, I close the clamshell to my computer and I do something else and I walk away. When I'm finished with the client reading, I do the same thing. And sometimes I even unplug the work computer so that I'm not dealing with that anymore. Separate. It's going to be healthy. It's going to help you. It's interesting that that's connected to health as well here in the spread. I think that will help many of you feel like you're more productive and you're happier. As I said, there may also be a great opportunity on the horizon, but you have to be open to it. And I think some of you this month will be encouraged to come out of your shells. So don't be afraid to sort of send an email, pick up the phone, and share an idea or ask for some help. That latent card or that hidden card that I was shown in my meditation was an Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is a big idea. It's like a light bulb. That could be another way to illustrate it. So if you're having a light bulb moment, and it may not be the obvious decision, because I was working with in my meditation a deck that was incomplete. That's the missing piece, is don't be afraid to share your point of view. You have something that other people are waiting for or lacking or hoping to see. And they'll bring you in the fold with that, the Four of Wands. So just know you might be sitting on a really big idea. Take this time to do something about it. If you have an idea of how to improve a process, especially for those of you in industries that are overtaxed right now, maybe there's a better way for production or utilization of the people that are available to work. And if you serve that option up, it's going to show you're an innovator, you're a thinker, and you could also then thrive during this period. So your sign is the first in a while that I saw a thriving card come through in the environment. So open yourself up to the possibility of growing, of thriving, of finding a new way to sort of like find opportunity, abundance in this period. And it's through innovation, through helping, through empathy that this will come through. We looked at health, we looked at wealth. Let's move along to love. And this is the one that is showing changes here. It says shifting universes. And it's kind of like a combination of, it reminds me of like a tesseract or something, moving through some sort of weird space. So we are in this changing world right now where our roles are changing. The way that we interact socially is changing. And for many of us, it could be exhilarating. For many of us, it could be off-putting. I think the more and more I'm meditating on what I saw earlier, it really was a chameleon. And so don't be afraid to just kind of wear something different right now, whether it's like literally putting on, a protective mask or just deciding, okay, I have to do this for now. We'll see how it feels. I can change it later. Flexibility is going to be super important in relationships. With all of these people leaning on you, loved ones, family, friends, colleagues, old connections, it's also important to set new boundaries and new expectations. It's not just for those of you that are working from home. Apollo, I had him at the beginning, but we were having technical difficulties, so you missed out on him, some of you. But when I walk my dog outside, there are some neighbors that used to want to come right up and pet the dog. Now, even though fur is not a conduit, the leash is, the collar is, the nails and other things are. So also they're too close to me. So I've been having to ask a few people to step away. Like right now, no, you can't pet Apollo, I'm sorry. And so I've had to create new sort of separations and distances. And then just explain there's no problem between us. This is actually to protect everybody. So don't be afraid to speak out if it's something like that. For the rest of you, it might just be maybe, like I said, friends and family kind of not understanding that you still have a day job, even if you're working from home. So they can't just come in, they can't play the TV, they can't do certain things. So the ones that you love the most may need the most boundaries right now, because you're now closer together than you have been if you're sharing a space. And for those that you miss and you're distancing and they're feeling like, don't you love me? You can also remind them, it's because I love you that I'm observing these new sort of boundaries. So I think relationships are just in a big sort of mixing pot right now, changing, shifting, moving. Do your best, don't beat yourself up. And I think that things are going to be okay. All right. Let's look now at the Destiny card. And we have phrenology here, certainty. And I think it's really just, for many of you, feeling uncertain. It's kind of like the antithesis of what we see here. I don't think that all of us necessarily know what's going on. I think what's important is to admit that feeling of, I'm not sure where this is headed. I'm not sure where we're going to be. And if you are in a position of like authority, even if you're just like a parent and your kids are asking you like, Mom, Dad, what's going on? You could say, I think everybody's trying to figure that out. That's the $1 million question right now. And, there's a lot that we know. There's a lot that we don't know. I talked yesterday to Libra about, riding through a roller coaster. Many of you've heard of it, called Space Mountain. It's basically, it's in the dark. And when the lights are off, you're often scared about what's going on. I was able to ride it once with the lights on, and the fear dissipated. And I'm like, it's just a roller coaster. There's a beginning and there's an end, and it's actually not as scary as I thought. Now I know how it works. Once we see through the unknown, fear goes away. Right now, we're still learning. And, if we kind of rewind to how it was when we were little kids, we were afraid of the dark sometimes, or we were uncertain about the big world out there, what it was like. The more you learn, the more you feel capable of handling it. I feel, in a year from now, this will be one more thing that we can add to our life experience, and we will have grown, we will have learned, we'll be okay. But going through it, it's a little scary. So if all of us do our best to hold our light, to be honest about what we know and what we don't know, and I think that's the missing component right now. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know, or let me look at that. That's actually a sign of a good leader. Whenever I hear like, prime minister, governor, mayor, a mother, a father, a boss say, that's something we should look at. I don't have the answer to you, but we'll try to find it. And when I know, I'll tell you. And if I don't have it, we'll keep looking for an answer. Like, you don't always have the answer immediately. So let's just admit that we're trying to fly into the unknown, and we're going to do our best to support each other. There's going to be some great opportunities for growth and innovation during it. And everything else is going to be part of that journey. If we do that, I think we're going to be okay. It's when we pretend to know things that it's not so cool. And it's when we give into the fear and we create things through the shadows that it also becomes a little bit overwhelming. So one day at a time, one sort of piece of that journey at a time, and I think we're going to be fine. Let's go ahead now, review what we talked about. We're going to look at the bigger picture at the end here, looking at what's the big opportunity for you. It's what happens after I prune or lose or move past something. What's the new growth? And so that's really what we'll be looking at in just a moment, but I need to review first. Okay, so let me pull my channeled messages here. And I said this month it's kind of like an unexpected revelation period. So sometimes it may be really obvious, sometimes it may be subtle, but at the end, you're going to see something kind of close or be removed. And then through that, you have a chance to grow and move. If I'd rewritten this, I might have just put the word chameleon, but I like the shape shift, and I really liked it because you're shifting perspectives and also kind of reshaping ideas. So don't be afraid to innovate, to challenge, to move through things in a different way than people expect. Going back to the song that I was talking about, like plant ideas of hope, of possibility, of really trying to be as positive as possible. And then know that as you're holding space for that, you're going to nurture that and create that which you imagine, that which you dream. So that was the channeled message. And again, I talked about two cards that came through in my dream, which was the Four of Wands and the Ace of Wands. All about kind of these familial and societal and kind of community connections that want to come through, and maybe like a big idea or a sort of innovation that could kind of give you some sort of abundance during this period. Be patient, hold space. Know that there will be a time to move forward and take action. This one says, be brave and honest. So interesting. I was just talking about saying sometimes I don't know. Honesty will set you free. If you don't know, say you don't know, and then just put some sort of an action plan in place. People can deal with facts. They can also deal with the unknown. It's when you're dishonest, I think, that things fall apart. So just be as honest as you can, and it will be okay. Judgment, the two sides of it. Doing something you have to do even when you know you don't want to do it. For kids, this is like homework, right? For adults, it might be working out at the gym or cutting back on eating sugar. There's so many ways on a sort of like light level this could be. For the rest of us, it could be sort of like dealing with, I don't want to work from home, or I don't want to do this, but unfortunately, this is the first time maybe as an adult in a while that you have to do it. So moving into the energy of acceptance is going to be really important here. And then tempering it with something that you can control or that you do like. Can you turn it around instead of thinking, I don't want to, and think, well, what can I do with this? How can this be an advantageous sort of event for me? Passion, joy, love is going to kind of set you free. And that was exactly what we're talking about here. What is the universe trying to show me? What is the revelation? What can I maybe see if I look at it from another angle? Controlling what you can, releasing what you can't. Enjoying the space, going back to another 80s song or 90s song actually, but it was like enjoy the silence. Peace and quiet is something that we don't get quite often. So you're getting a lot of time to meditate, to clean the house, to catch up, to be with children, to be with pets, to be with yourself. Use this time. It's a gift. When I had a day job at a corporation, that was something that I would have yearned for, was a chance to just take a deep breath and catch up. I remember sometimes it would be a month before I'd have a chance to kind of catch up on laundry and housework and all the data banking and all of that. So because I was working like 50, 60-hour work weeks. So if you're caught in that sort of normal trend, use this time to get your life together. The universe is giving you a deep breath, basically. So use that time to catch up. There's so much energy about relationships coming through. You got a ton this month. Page of Cups, 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups, 6 of Cups. Guess what? You're one of the few signs that actually could find love this month, or could deepen a relationship, or could fix a relationship. They're all generally positive cards, even though some of them are reversed. So I would say, look at the relationships that matter. Do what you need to do to bring them into balance. Even if the people have passed, you have a chance for healing to happen right now. If you speak up and try new things, you might also have a chance to experience new abundance this month. And that pretty much covers the central spread. For health, focusing is going to be key. Focus on what you can control, what you can't control. Meditate on that new kind of like the rose that we saw here, what it is you want to bring into creation or fruition. Boundaries are really what we're seeing with career, with wealth. We have the home card here, which is kind of, again, it's a little bit of an oxymoron there, but many of you now are working from home and there really is no office anymore. Home is the office. This card is reminding you that you can make it work, but there has to be sort of a new definition of spaces. So it's time to reorganize to kind of like, create a home office if you need one. Relationships are all over the place. Give yourself time to adjust. Once you adjust, you'll see new patterns. You'll be able to fall into those new patterns, and it may be better than the old. Admit what you know, admit what you don't know. Work with people that are experts. Surround yourself with smart people. I think that's a sign of a good leader as well. And also just anybody who's willing and ready to grow. It's actually good to have people that are smarter than you, because you have a chance to expand in their presence. So I think those are the main messages there. Now let's move along to the new growth opportunities that are coming through for you. All right, we'll start with the past. And this might be, for some of you, as we look at deep past, what you might have missed with the 4 of Cups. The Emperor in reverse. So the Emperor for me is it's an ultimate card really of control here. So the reversal of the card contains a couple levels of meaning. One is for you to really kind of turn the energy of managing, of growth, of development, of basically control inward. It's self-control. So one sort of way of kind of looking at this is you might be deciding at this point in your life that you want to do something new. This is a weird time to start a business, right? But it could also be an exciting time. If you still have a day job, this could be the plan B that I'm talking about. You don't have to launch it now. You could launch it in a year or two, but you're going to plant the seeds right now. And maybe you've decided I've spent enough time, maybe being an administrative assistant or helping, being a paralegal, helping someone else, and you're going to decide to take the next step and do something that drives your passion. It's a very paternal card, and oftentimes comes through for people who are the kind of head of a company even. So there might be something where you feel like I'm spending too much time and energy doing this. I want to do less of controlling people or telling them what to do. I want to take a step back. The Emperor in reverse is deciding maybe to step away from something, or at the very least to delegate more so that you can find you. Have you ever noticed, especially for those of you that are caretakers, there might be someone in your life that you love. It could be a special needs child. It could be an adult parent that is older and maybe they're going through something like Alzheimer's and they need your help. You're happy to help them. But sometimes it's like all of your energy is going into that person, that relationship. This is saying, pull back just a little, ask for some help, lean on some people in your life so that you can find you. You don't want to absorb your personality into theirs or have them define you. So remember, you're a person too in any relationship, in any job, in any situation. So this is boundaries and redefinition, because as I look at love and relationships, what is this? It's kind of hard to see. And this can be what it looks like if you were to kind of look with your third eye at a relationship or an auric field where you're so intertwined in someone's energy that you don't know where they stop and you begin. So this could be a time with the Hermit energy to kind of turn inward and find the light, find you, find your sense of who you are, and rekindle that. It doesn't mean you have to desert the person or this thing that you're working with, whatever, if it's a project or a company. But it does mean that you've dissolved a little bit and you need to kind of strengthen yourself. So, and then the last thing with this is just wait for people to come to you. Sometimes it's hard to take off the hat of being a boss, a mom, a dad, a go-to helper of people. And you can just be you, and just be present with someone, and you don't have to always be working. You can even remind them of that. Sometimes people have a hard time knowing that, you're off duty. So whether you're a cop, a therapist, a psychic, sometimes you just hang out with people and you're not working. So I think there's some boundary things here that are kind of contained within the Emperor in reverse, and self-care, which is really coming through apparently. And that's why I think what we saw here with the Six of Swords and with the Hermit card, it is the universe blessing you with the chance to do that if you can. All right, present opportunities. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords. For those of you out there who are creative, with all of the Cups cards that I saw today, you've got to do something with it. It's so exciting. Compose a new song, write, a book, talk to somebody, create some sort of a new curriculum, put this into some sort of physical thing. I feel like this is a really great and I would say productive period that you're going through. So Page of Swords is channeling and putting it oftentimes into a written document too, or a legal document. Speaking of legal documents, if something needs to be changed, this is a good time. When we suddenly realize, like, who knows what the future holds, look at all legal documents in your life that matter, from insurance to wills and trusts to, maybe even a project that you're doing, making sure that you have the proper non-disclosure and all of that stuff. Look at your legal protection this month and your insurance and all of that and take care of you. All right. Now looking at the big silver lining, either what's helping us or kind of blocking us. Okay. Nine of Pentacles, which is really about independence, right? It doesn't always have to equal just cash in your life or money. To me, this is about finding a way back to feeling like next time around or in the future, I really want to make sure that I can depend on myself, that I've got this. So I think the goals perhaps over the next, 1 to 2 years for you could be personal development, personal independence, setting up that nest egg or the feeling of confidence and everything, self-reliance, so that you know that when things get rough, you can count on yourself. And that's what this is saying. You can already do it. But taking the next, month, the next year, the next couple of years to really get to that moment where you feel like I can take a deep breath because I've done the hard work to get there. So that can mean improving your financial standing, your health. A lot of the things I was talking about with the judgment card, making a decision, all right, I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do and it's going to help me live a nice, long, healthy life, and I can take care of myself and those who need me. So I think if we were to combine the two things here, I'll quickly review it and then we'll go into the meditation. Find you. That's basically what this is saying. Find you, work on bringing that light and that energy back if it got lost for any reason. Do something with the passion and the inspiration coming through this month. You might be surprised. This connects to the Page of Pentacles and then connects to the Nine of Pentacles, which tells me that there could be something that you create, that you change, that you serve up as an idea that really helps you in the future. It sets you up for success and abundance. Let's meditate now. And as I'm looking at the different cards here, I really liked the imagery of the rose and finding a way to kind of create new growth after a period of kind of like pruning or removing stuff. And I'm reading what I wrote down here too as well, clearing out and cleaning the cords. So we'll start with that. And then we'll move into sort of this creating, sowing some sort of a dream or cutting something and then planting something new. So let's start first with just kind of going into the body. So first of all, before I get into the meditation, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. It means a lot. And once we go out into outer space, it gets hard to focus. So if you can do that now, thank you. Now let's go ahead and meditate. Close your eyes, get yourself into a comfortably seated position. If you're like me and you need a drink of water, go ahead and do that right now. And then I want you to see yourself in a sacred garden. Of course, roses are going to be part of that, but find a space maybe a little bit away from that right now. What I see in my head is a beautiful weeping willow tree. And if you don't know what that looks like, it's long and it has these branches that can kind of move. They're very flexible. They're very pliable. So you can imagine any sort of tree that has limbs and branches that can move with the wind. So find your space against this weeping willow tree. And I want you to lean against the tree and imagine that the grass beneath you is really soft. It's almost like you're sitting on a sofa or a couch. And even the bark, it kind of has this moss on it. So everything is nice and soft and inviting. So as you lean against the weeping willow tree, it's almost like you're reclining. And in this moment, I want you to give to the weeping willow, to the roots beneath you, to the moss, to the grass, to the ground, anything that you don't want in your life. Scan your body and think, am I holding on to stress anywhere? Is it in my mind? Is it in my shoulder and my neck? Do I have pain in my back? Do I just have a little bit of heartache because of everything that's going on in my life? Take a really deep breath. And as you exhale, I want you to melt into the tree a little bit energetically and offer this up, knowing that your exhale actually is going to help feed the tree. And it can also take the energy that you're giving it and ground it. It's not going to hurt the tree. It's going to send it into the earth. It'll take what it can, nourish itself. It'll send the rest into the planet. It's a wonderful grounding mechanism. So leaning into the tree, breathe in and give it whatever offering you have. Maybe you need to take a few deep breaths because there's a lot on your mind. Breathe as much as you need and want. And I'm going to take a couple with you as well. Good. Relax your shoulders, neck, and back, and now just sink into the tree for a second. Take a moment to look up through all of these beautiful branches. Each of them is falling down. And again, they're very, very delicate branches if you've ever looked at a weeping willow. Each of them is coming down kind of like a waterfall. And there's these beautiful, tender green leaves on some of the branches that are closest to you. And then you see some of the older branches reaching up towards the sky. As you're looking up through these beautiful green leaves, the sunlight is being filtered through. And there's a few rays that come through that are golden yellow. The rest have these beautiful kind of tempered colors of green. And these are touching each and every cell on your body. So just as the tree can take that light and make it into energy, your body is going to receive an energetic upload and also upgrade from that. The green energy is bringing you the thought of love, because that's the color of the heart, but also abundance. We associate it with money for a reason. If there's something in your life that you want to grow, that you want to see more of, allow the green light to go into your heart and your soul and your mind and to start to feed the dream of what that is. Take a breath and bring that green energy around you and wrap it around you like a blanket. Imagine you could just see yourself starting to kind of almost cocoon in this beautiful green light. Exhale and see a puff of smoke, of doubt, of fear, of anxiety, and just let it go into the tree and see it dissolve. See the golden light come through your crown chakra and imagine that it's going to go through your body and bring you a sense of vitality. Because what is Ace of Wands? It's also a feeling that I can get up, I can do something. It's a brainstorm. And so that missing card that I didn't see here in your spread, but I saw in the meditation wants to come through as that golden light. And it's also that new growth that we're going to create in a moment. So allow that to go into your body and create this sense of renewed hope, renewed ideation, brainstorming, etc. And now imagine that right next to you, there is a small seed that's starting to grow. This is what you're starting to dream about. This is the new you. And next to you, imagine there is something that's a little bit overgrown. Take a moment and cut away the old growth and just let that sit dormant for a second and see the new seed growing as well. We're going to meditate and we're going to try to create growth in both of these plants. They're actually rose bushes. So at the end of the meditation, imagine that there's beautiful blossoms, different colors like I have behind me. Maybe there's a yellow rose for friendship. There's a white one for peace and or maybe a red one for love, whatever you want. Just see all the different colors available to you start to grow. I'm going to play this singing bowl as you meditate, bringing those colors into your auric field and letting go of the past and allowing the new to come in. If you connect to anything during this meditation that you don't want, send the new light into this. Whatever color rose you have, send that light through to the connection of whatever it is between you and another person or whatever it is that you want to heal and see the channel being cleared. So we're going to see some growth and some clearing. And all you have to do is breathe and see light moving around your body. Take a moment now. Imagine that the leaves above you are starting to kind of hug you. This weeping willow is actually going to kind of give you an energetic hug. Accept that love from the tree. You've fed it that offering of breath, of life, of letting go of things that you don't need. And as the tree moves back into its normal position, look to the right and to the left of you at what you've created in your life. Creating room perhaps for new relationship, for healing in a relationship, for maybe some new way of finding abundance in your life, for letting go of something that you didn't need. And now in its stead, you see beautiful, bright green growth coming from the old rose bush. And you see a strong plant to your right, something that you created that's all you, also growing, knowing that you can prune, you can also create. And that's really what this period of your life is creating for you, a chance to release, to grow, to imagine, to shift. One last breath, and on the exhale, you can open your eyes. And welcome back, everybody. So really some beautiful energy coming through for your sign this month. A lot of love, a lot of heart space energy coming through with all of the cups cards, and some surprising energy around abundance. So I hope you can see that you can grow during periods of change. It can actually be a very fruitful time, and I hope it is for you. and for those that you love. For anybody today that was kind enough to give me a super chat, thank you so much. I will again thank you when this is all said and done. If you'd like to stay connected with me, one of the best places to start is on my website. Everything that I'm going to highlight here in a second is visible there. So you can just go to nicholasashbaugh.com and see everything there. I'd love for you to join me on social media if you haven't already. The same username that I have here, Nicholas Ashbaugh, is where you can find me on Facebook. Just make sure it's Nicholas Ashbaugh. There are a couple of different accounts. That's the official one. So you can join me there if you'd like to. I use stories as a reminder. Of course, you already are here on YouTube, but if you haven't subscribed, please do it. It's free, and it shows me and it shows YouTube that people care. I'm on Patreon as well. So if you want to give back in a small way, like $1 a month, you can change that at any point. Feel free to do it. It helps me continue to get new cards like this deck, which I love. So thank you for anyone that did that. There's a join button here as well. There's a difference between join and subscribe. Subscribe is free. Join is a way to give back every month. Whatever you decide to do, it means a lot. So thank you. We have another way you can connect with me on Instagram. It's just Nicholas_Ashbaugh. I use stories on that as well. And if you just want a quick tweet in the morning to remind you what I'm going to be doing for the day, you can follow me on Twitter as well. And Ashbaugh is the username. And for those that are old school and prefer PayPal, you can go to paypal.me/NicholasAshbaugh. I know that Ryan and Maria have posted all those links, so I just want to say thanks. And thanks to some folks that are doing some last minute stickers and super chats there. I appreciate you guys. Thank you again for all the love, all the light, and really focus on creating that beautiful garden of opportunity around you. That's what the Catalyst card displayed, and that's really where we went with our meditation today. I hope that every day of your life is amazing, but May has some great opportunities for healing and for growth. So I just saw 111 likes. So that's the universe saying we're on a good path. There's some great things coming forward. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much for showing up today. I'll be back again on Sunday. And you can check out my schedule on my website. It's just nicholasashbaugh.com/live. All the dates of past, present, and future appointments are there. Again, thanks to Ryan and Maria. I saw that there were some people talking today doing some crazy stuff. So thanks for keeping it organized. And for everybody that showed up and showed a lot of love and support, big thanks to you. I wouldn't be here without you. Continue to shine brightly. Remember, even in a period of darkness, we have light, and the Hermit actually shows us what we have. It shows us our metal, our true light. And I think that's what this period is offering for everybody. Okay, take care. See you again in 2 days. All right, take care. Bye-bye.